one, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
I have a question for you. If you woke up this Friday morning and you looked in your bank account and there was $10,080 magically there, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. But the only stipulation is you have to spend it all in 1 week and it'll be gone. And then the following week, you'll get another $10,080 deposited, and so on and so on. You can spend it however you want. Or if you don't spend it, it disappears. Would you spend every cent every week, or would you allow it to be wasted and taken away from you? Well, guys, this Friday, you're going to wake up and there's going to be 10,080 minutes that God has given you for the next week. And you can spend them however you want, or you can simply waste them. Guys, I highly suggest that you spend every minute of next week doing amazing things, and don't allow 1 minute to be squandered, because you never know when God won't deposit another 10,080 minutes in your life, guys. Go out and live a great life.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day. and bacon. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy YouTubing today. Happy TGIF. Happy whatever you need it to be. Happy summer break. Happy we don't have to get the kids up at the crack of dawn. Happy, joy. Maybe not so much, right? Maybe not so much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are here. We are up. We are alive. We are happy. It is Friday, and we are even more happy that tomorrow's Saturday. Let's be honest. Today is the teaser, right? We get to Friday, and we're like, it's the weekend. But it's not. We still have to go through a whole day of work, right? And if you're Bullhorn Betty or Andra or a third person out there that tries to trigger people, you might be a little upset that you got to work tomorrow. The problem is with me, I enjoy my job, right? I get to meet great people. I get to hang out with a bunch of fun, crazy people like me. And we get to talk about something that I'm interested in, right? Like true crime. I've been interested in, as many of us have been interested in true crime for many, many years. I'm sure before even true crime, movies came on TV, there was true crime junkies, right? There's true crime junkies. We're intrigued by the unknown or the reason or the why, because, now granted, normal is a subjective statement, right? What is normal? It's subjective. But I have to think that even us crazy normal people, a slightly normal people, we don't go out murdering a bunch of people. We don't go out doing crazy stuff. So a lot of these cases intrigue us because we just don't get it. Right? I mean, that's really what it is. We don't understand. We don't understand how, say, a mother could keep a son captive for 8 years, right? We don't understand those things. We, as human normals, the subjective normal, us subjectively normal people, don't understand. So it intrigues us. And we like to look under the hood because we're kind of like cats, right? Curiosity killed the cat. We're cats, okay? Meow. We're curious, right? We're curious. So good morning, Southern Grammy Wolf. Good morning. The Real Me Too, followed by Sonia, Lady 7 Up. And we're just going to call her Slim, okay? Because she's not Slim Shady. She's Slim Skittles. And not only that, she's the real Slim Skittles, right? But we're just going to call her Slim because she doesn't know what her name is anymore, right? She doesn't know whether she wants to go with the real, whether she wants to go with Slim, or whether she wants to go with Skittles and taste the rainbow, right? Are we ready to taste the rainbow? No, we're not. So we're just going to call her Slim. So Slim Skittles, good morning. Oh, and we got go. Turkey Man is in the house, followed by Gigi for Life. Gigi for Life has been really, her heart has really sunk into the Winter Smith case. Okay, I just want to let you guys know that. All of us have, right? Winter Smith, just a beautiful little child that just didn't deserve. No child does, right? We cover these things. It's very disheartening for a lot of us to listen to. But I just want to give a big shout out to Gigi. Gigi has really been pumping my email full of information about Winter. And trust me, I know we're not talking about her just yet. I'm waiting for some record requests. But that information is going to be very beneficial. And I know her heart is in the right place and her heart is bleeding for this young, beautiful girl. But I just wanted to give a big shout out to Gigi that's been keeping me up to date every twist and turn when it comes to this case, identifying the real father, giving me, a whole bunch of information. So it's always appreciative when our audience participates and our audience is, emotionally invested in these cases because they're monitoring those things. I'm one person. We've got several major cases going on that we're trying to cover and keep you guys up to date with the information. So all that help really does help me. It takes a load off my plate, especially when I'm doing due diligence and trying to find any information. Like with Rudy, there's a lot of stuff here that was searched. It's a constant search. You're constantly looking for new information about the case because I'm curious about it and I want to know what's going on and what's going on with this young man. Especially when we were hearing rumors that he was, he left with his mother, and I'm just like, this kid has got to be really, really sick if, he's trying to leave his mom, yet he's leaving with his mom, So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this case that many people aren't paying attention to or don't know. So I'm trying to get it all consolidated so we have one funnel that you guys can come and listen to. And this is no different with Rudy. I've been paying a lot of attention to this. I was monitoring this case literally all day yesterday. And, I was going to actually wait and do some of the, just do the live this morning. But yesterday I realized I had so much information that I needed to get out that I actually had to do the 2 lives. So I did one last night and I'm doing the follow-up this morning on this case. This case is crazy. This case is crazy. So good morning, Turkey Man. I think I said hi to the real me too, but if I didn't, the real me too, good morning. Patricia Miller, it's nice to see you. Just Debbie, Crafty Chris, it's always happy and glad to have you here. Kathy Baker, Nurse Sandy, good morning, love. Tippy Toe is up in the house. Maddie Down, good morning. Crystal, and who else do we have? Tanya, Delaware, nice to see you here. Let me guess, you're from Delaware? Sorry, I have to have fun with it because what else are we going to do, right? It's like way too early and it's a Friday. Stacy, good morning. Lori J, it's nice to see you. Net L, good morning. Angela, it's always nice to have you in the house. Robert's girl, good morning, love. Good morning. I hope everything is going well with you. Struggle is real. C. Earls, good morning. The official Nikki, good morning, the official Nikki. TD, it's nice to see you in the house. Superman's grandma. I love that. Oh my goodness. I think a lot of people can identify with that, right? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Good morning. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. AZ Green Eye, Dark Angel, it's nice to have you in the house. Good morning. And we have Dana Lynn, the legendary Dana Lynn. I love that. Good morning. Good morning, legend. It's nice to have you. Amanda, good morning. Tip it back. I see you. Easy. TLC, Bonnie's Journey. Oh, good morning, Bonnie. Nice to see you, love. JJ, Megan. Who else do we have? Oh, Jazz King. Big virtual hug to you, my friend. Justice Jane, you too. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So I think we got through just about everybody, but if we didn't, big blanket hello from the Bullhorn Betty channel to each and every one of you. Hopefully you guys are having, when it's summer break for the children, hopefully you're getting a small little break too, right? Maybe not. Pussycat, it's nice to see you. But you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it is like you're not having to do the hustle and bustle in the morning. But you know what? You got to come home in the afternoon, right? You got to come home from work. And typically when you come from work, your teenage kids have destroyed the house. So the first 45 minutes to an hour, you're grumpy as heck. Yeah, cleaning up all the crap that's been left there because your kids are slobs. Okay? Let me give you I love you parents. Parents, you guys are great parents. Don't kill the kids this summer, okay? I know you want to pop their little heads off like pimples, but you know what? Make a list. Give them chores. Take their electronics away until the chores are done. We got this, right? We got this. Annette the Crow, good morning. Good morning. We got this, right? You take the electronics away. You don't even have to take them away for very long, right? You can tell them, I'm taking it away for a week. Get this garbage out, clean your room, scrub the bathroom. And when it's done, you give it back to them. Say, see now how hard was that? Don't get your phones and stuff taken away from you. Just do the work that you need to do, right? Kids have got to be responsible. So make your kids responsible. I'll tell you the trick, okay? I'll tell you the trick. All the kids, all the teenage kids that are watching this show, here's the trick, okay? This is how Bullhorn Betty cleaned her room when Mama Bullhorn was on her butt, right? What you do is you grab everything, put it in a pile on top of the bed, okay? Get on your knees on the floor, okay? Lift the dust ruffler of your bed and take the stuff on the top of your bed and put it under the bed and shove. That's all you have to do. Mama's happy, right? Mama's happy until she cleans under your bed. Then she's not so happy. But it'll get you some time, okay? And your electronics won't go away. All right. Now that I've got to go in hiding because moms are ready to come hunt me down. All right. We're done. We're done. So just before we get started on the Rudy case, great advice. I know many moms out there are probably saying, I hate Bullhorn Betty right now. I bet you there's a lot of moms going out there looking up under their kids' bed now saying, how much crap did they shove up under here? Trust me, there's more of me around. You just don't know it yet. You just don't know it. Talk to Mama Bullhorn. She'll tell you the tricks. Okay, now on a not so funny note, we're going to just touch base on Winter Smith again. This is a very hard, when it comes to these little kids, it's very hard for me. I know that, and I'm sure it's probably hard for you guys too, but it's ultra sensitive. It's a sensitive topic for me when it comes to these young children. And my heart breaks because I feel like some of these children have such a gift to this world and they were snuffed away because they were born to the wrong parents. And, it's just sad. Like, I almost could accept, and this is, I say things and people take it and spin it. And I at this point don't really care. I mean, they spin everything. Doesn't matter what I say, right? It'll be spun negatively. And everything I say is taken out of context. But I am going to say it just the way it is because I'm just going to be me and there's no other person to be but me. And sometimes I say things that, people are thinking but refuse to say, and I'm just a realist type of person. I don't really care about PC. I don't care about the PC culture. I don't care about, getting, I'm not going to stand on a hill and fall on the sword on some of these causes, but for the most part, I'm not going to change who I am. And at the end of the day, I can accept a grandparent being, or a parent being, I can accept it a lot more. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is about my brain or my personality or the chemical makeup of my body, but for whatever reason, it's a little more palatable for me to deal with when it's an adult. When it comes to these children, it's a very sensitive topic, One, when I got into this business, I never thought I would be covering children. So, I was covering, domestic violence and the abuses of homes and advocating against domestic violence. I never in a million years, when Summer Wells came, I thought that was a fluke. I thought that was going to be a one and done situation that, these children, because we all, I'm not stupid. I mean, we've been out growing up. I remember being at a condo, and it was one of our beach condos that we had and we went to every summer in Fort Myers. And I remember we were running around the big pool that they had and one of the girls slipped and busted her head. Like she had blood coming out of her. Every single person just ran to her aid, corralled around her, really tried to help her. And that's the beauty I see out there, everybody protecting the young, everybody running to the aid of a child when a child is in need. It didn't matter whether that child was their child or not. They saw a child injured and it was almost a compulsion and you're compelled to help. You don't even think about it. It's just instinctually you run to the threat, you run to the person injured, not the threat, the injured person, and you render aid. Now, if it was an older person, do you think that many people would have ran to that person? No, I don't believe it would have. But because it was a young child, she slipped, she busted her head, there's blood coming out. Everybody corralled around. Everybody. When it comes to our kids, it doesn't matter who they belong to. We protect our young in this country naturally, instinctually. We don't think about it when we jump into action. We just jump into action. So when it comes to these children, for me, it is a hard pill to swallow that I have grandchildren. I don't have I don't have my own children. I have grandchildren. I have stepchildren. I don't have my own children. That never has ever played in my equation at all. Those are my kids. Those are my grandkids. There's never once that I say, I'm not biologically related to you. I'm not going to help you. Right?
And so why am I saying all this and giving such a lecture on this? Because our young need to be protected, and they need to be protected sometimes from their own parents. And both of these cases, and parental figures, because we do know Winter, the man that killed Winter was not her father. It was the father of her brother, from my understanding. Apparently, with Winter, she was with the guy that killed her daughter. She was with him, and whether she broke up with him and had another relationship with another person, or she had an affair on him and got pregnant. We don't know those fine details, but they did have a relationship, and she does have an older son with this man. It sounds like this was a hostile, jealous situation. He never came to terms with the fact that she left him and had another kid by another man. This is what I truly believe happened. But again, this was not the child's fault. This was never the child's fault. This is not something that the child did. The child had no choice with who her mother laid down with. I can tell you that she was a gift from God. She was beautiful. She looked like she had everything going her way. Her mother left that man. Her mother wanted a fresh start, obviously. Again, a lot of Passion Jeffrey's case just resonates with this one. I identify this case because of Passion Jeffrey's and what her and her son had to go through. And God rest their souls. Thank God this mother is able to live and care for her son, but she is forever going to be scarred so deeply that many of us will never, ever understand. She was stabbed. She had to run for her life. She had to go try to get help. And can you imagine her just trying to save herself and the guilt? She didn't do anything wrong. Let me put that out there. She didn't do anything wrong. She was assaulted and was trying to save her life. I don't think at any point she ever even thought that her daughter was in danger. But she needed to save herself. Can you imagine? She did nothing wrong. And she's going to have to live with herself in the guilt that she is going to feel, because she is going to feel, no matter how you look at this, whether she was right, wrong, or indifferent, or how you feel about the mom running out of the house to save her life. When you're being stabbed and you need to run and save your life, you don't have the option to walk past your assailant and grab your child. You don't have that option. You have to save your life. You have to get out of there or you will die. And she had to run. And she is going to forever feel the guilt of leaving her baby girl behind. And she did nothing wrong. Nothing. And she's going to be scarred from that. And people and we all know she did nothing wrong. And even in her brain, even in her own mind, she's going to know in her heart and her soul she did everything right. And she's still going to blame herself for her daughter. This is a pain that nobody can describe, that nobody can own. This is something that even if you were in the exact same position as she was, even if you had the same exact experience, you guys will still have separate scars. So, just, this is a sad case. But I do want to just give a little bit of a moment to Winter and her case so you guys can be updated on it.
Searching and praying. The body of 2-year-old Winter Smith is found after she was kidnapped in Lansing.
A vigil is planned for later tonight, so many people who are heartbroken by this case want to show up in the show their support. Let's get right to Fox News' Charlie Langton. He spoke with Winter's family today. He joins us live with more. And Charlie, this is not the outcome they were hoping and praying for.
Well, nobody was hoping for this kind of an outcome, but about 24 hours ago, this is where the discovery was made of Winter's body in this alley here. But as you can see, there is a memorial. And I'll tell you, when I was here this morning, there was nothing.
I just want you guys to look at that. That's her. That's where this monster decided to throw her in a freaking alley. A freaking alley. Like
And now you can see even the Detroit Police Department, they showed up and put a balloon and a stuffed
that is
bear
sweet.
on that memorial. And there's going to be a vigil later on. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But it was a very sad day. It was a day for mourning. People finding out that little Winter Smith, just 2 years old, was found dead, not the result that anybody wanted. And yes, I did have a chance to talk to the family. It's heartbreaking, but take a look.
Why me? Like,
that's the father. That's am I right, Gigi? Because that's the photo of the person that you sent to me right there. I believe that is her real father.
wow.
A.J. Smith, the father of 2-year-old Winter Cole Smith.
I'm angry that she's gone. I'm angry she had to deal with that. I'm sad I didn't get to see her. I'm sad I don't get to be with her. I'm sad I wasn't here for her.
So many emotions for this 24-year-old senior at the University of Tennessee, Martin.
A senior at the University of Tennessee. This is a man that's trying to change his life and do better for himself and his family. This is a man that's working hard, and he has to deal with another man destroying his universe, destroying his world. Look at this man. This man is broken because of an animal, a monster.
A receiver for the football team and trying to further himself to have made a better life for himself and Winter.
My son, he worked so hard to go to college to play football so he could live a dream for him and Winter.
I used to keep some stuff and then tell her mom like I lost it, like I forgot to pack it. And I'm glad I did so I can hold on to it.
The little memories are so big now that 2-year-old Winter was found by FBI agents Wednesday night in the alley on Detroit's east side after a 3-day search that spanned over 90 miles from Lansing to St. Clair Shores. You've got.
And I also want to, state that the FBI submitted this as a tip. A lot of people, we are learning as we're doing this type of work, a lot of details, a lot of details that we don't really realize. We all know Big Brother's watching. We all know that when it comes to the FBI and the U.S. Marshals, they have that secret computer that just seems to almost pinpoint our location, right? It only takes them it's almost like we have tracking devices in each one of us, and it just takes a little bit to find us, right? They push a button, and then all of a sudden it goes, woo, 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 and next thing you know, your door's being kicked in, the U.S. Marshals is grabbing your butt, and you're heading off to where you need. And it's funny how they do that, right? Law enforcement doesn't have this secret computer, right? They could be looking for people for years. Call the FBI 3 days later. We got you. Sit back. Here's your tip, right? And they do that, and they do it under secrecy. So when we hear these, even law enforcement, even in these trials, when is the last time we've actually seen an FBI agent up on the stand explain, law enforcement has to get up there, whatever, what were we doing? Just Letitia. So we had the Colorado Springs police, and we had Florida police, and we had South Carolina police, all had to be shipped into her trial. But you know what I didn't notice? FBI agents, right? FBI agents don't take the stand, right? They don't take the stand. Why? Because they can be cross-examined in their practices. What is the one thing that the FBI does not want disclosed? Their motive of operation, right? They don't want you to know the SOP for the FBI. They don't want you to know their secret sauce and how they're able to find, because, quite frankly, if we did know the secret sauce, if we did know how they do what they do, it'd probably terrify us, right? I think if we knew what the FBI did to keep us safe, it would scare the crap out of us, and we would probably shut the FBI down. Let's be honest with you, right? If we found out half the crap that they knew about each and every one of us, or had on each and every one of us, or how they tracked it, it would terrify us. Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest. I can tell you just the little bit that I know, and I know I don't know it all, terrifies me. And I talk about Big Brother all the time on this show, right? Because they're always watching. And the more we do these criminal cases, the more we realize how much we purchase our own tracking devices, right? We purchase our cars knowing they have OnStar and track our every move. We buy our watches knowing that they're monitoring every single thing. We download Google apps and all this stuff knowing that they're mining our data. And we don't care. We give it to them freely because we want not to have to do legwork. We want things to be given to us. Simple. We want to be able to go to Google, type in whatever we want, and we want it to pop out an answer. And for that answer, we sell our privacy to have this luxury of having things at our fingertips. We sell our privacy. We sell ourselves to these companies. We do it to ourselves. Let's be honest, right? We do this to ourselves. We know that the government's watching. We know every time we purchase a cell phone, the government is tracking us. We know every time we get an activity watch, it is tracking us. We know every time we download an app to our phones, it is tracking us. We know every time we get in the car and go somewhere, it's tracking us. And guess what? When we're watching those things on the internet that we don't want people to know we're watching, somebody's watching. Right? And let me tell you something else. These cameras are always on, right? These cameras are always on. And we know, like I keep my camera here in this computer, right? The lid on this computer stays up all day long. Somebody behind the scenes could literally be watching every move I make in my home from this computer. Let's be honest, we do it to ourselves. So it's no surprise to me that they found this young girl in 3 days. Thank you, FBI. Thank you for your service. Without you, things like this wouldn't be possible. And you know what? The drumbeat of the Bullhorn Betty channel is not defund the police. Let me get this clear. It is to fund the police, because everything we do on this channel requires police involvement. It requires them to be able to do a job. It requires them to have the finances they need to do a proper investigation. And not only that, the processing of the evidence. We need to make sure that they have enough funding to process the evidence to solidify convictions in these cases. We don't want to defund our justice system. We want to fund our justice system, but we want our justice system to follow the rules, all the rules, not just the ones they want to follow. That's what's required by us, the people.
That flyers bring winter home. When you look at them now, what goes through your mind?
Aww.
It hurts.
Yeah, it does.
How
hurt.
could somebody harm a little child? Like, how could you see yourself like on top of a child or hurting a child or whatever he did to her? We don't know, but he killed her and we don't know how he did it. But how can you like just fight a kid? You know what I'm saying?
A lot of this just doesn't feel real. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
This is probably, this is a man that's trying to change his life. He's going to school. He's only 24 years old. He's dealing with something he's never dealt with before. This is going to affect him. Okay, guys, he's a young man that's trying to make a difference in his life. And he just lost his child to murder, his 2-year-old child. This is going to mess with this man's head for the rest of his life. And I pray to God. It looks like he's got great parents, supportive parents. He's got a good support system, thank God. And I hope that support system is able to propel him to continue to focus on football and to continue to focus on his education and to keep moving forward, if nothing more, but for his daughter. but for his daughter. Don't allow winter to die in vain. Let it propel you to do amazing and great things. It is unreal, May. It is unreal. This is sad. This is sad. Nobody can say that this is not a sad case. This poor baby did nothing. Did nothing. And it looks like she had a loving mother and a loving father. And she was wiped off the face of the earth by a monster. We make decisions as young kids, as young adults, that affect us the rest of our lives. I'm living proof of that. I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't even be here. Every single day is a gift for me. And people that have not lived the life that I've lived, that have not, almost lost their life, they don't understand. Some people get it and they live life like it's their last day. And God bless those people that didn't have to walk a horrible path in order to live like that. But for some of us, we had to walk a horrible path. We did a lot of stuff to ourselves because we didn't know how to handle pain. We didn't know how to deal with, being left. We didn't know how to deal with a lot of stuff. We didn't know how to deal with the violence. We thought that this was normal. We're waking up from a dream to find out our life was a lie. There's a lot of things that go in there that people don't realize, and it affects young adults. And this is going to affect this man. I just pray to God he's got a great support system that is able to help him in a positive way and not a negative one. When I was his age, I didn't have much of a support system. My parents tried, but parents, at the end of the day, where I was at, I was angry with my parents. That's why I was in the situation that I was in, why I was doing the things I was doing. I was hurt. I felt betrayed. There was a lot of emotions that went along with it that this man is going to go through. Totally different scenarios. But those certain emotions, are similar. He has a loss. A lot of people have experienced a loss, but not a loss of a 2-year-old child. And that is just something, like I said, when it comes to these children, these young children, it affects me. It affects me bad. It does something to my brain. It does something to me when I look at people. I don't look at people normally anymore. Again, subjective. What's normal? I'm now, every time I go into it, and it's just been over the last 2 years, and I see a child, I'm visually looking at that child from head to toe now to see if there's bruises that shouldn't be on that child, to see if the parent's acting right. Is the parent yanking them all over the store? Is they cussing at them? I'm looking at those things now. I never paid attention. I stayed in my own lane. But now doing all this, it's so different. Like it's like this veil has come off my eyes, and I look at people so differently now. And the people that I trust and love, I keep them as close as possible, because I don't trust anybody anymore. I look at parents with skepticism now. Like, are you taking care of your kid? Like, I almost want to take out a checklist and start going through it and making sure that these children are safe. I mean, it's getting that bad. It really is. It really is. So, but I did want everybody to see, Winter was found. It's sad that what has happened to her. We're definitely going to be praying for her family, her friends, golly, her mother. Her mother is in the hospital recovering from multiple stab wounds. I can't even imagine the terror that mother went through, and I can't imagine waking up to this nightmare. It's heartbreaking. I don't know what person doesn't get emotional over this Winter Smith case, or any child case. It's hard.
We are joined by private investigator Brenda Paradise. Brenda, thank you so much for giving us some of your time.
Rudy Farias, here's some information.
First, explain your connection to this case.
So I'm a private investigator. I volunteer my time. I use the term hired loosely because I'm not paid for private investigation work. Back soon after Rudy went missing, his mother, Janie, filled out.
So she's basically an advocate for the missing, and she utilizes her skills to help people pro bono.
An intake for an organization that I volunteer with. The nonprofit organization is called We Help the Missing, and we help families at no charge. We received an intake from Janie, and from there we went on with the case.
Okay, so there's
hold on.
so much.
I didn't want this leaving just yet, because it does give us somewhat of a timeline here. I know when I pause it, it puts that play button in the middle of it, but we're just going to break it down. So basically what is being said is March 7th, 2015 is when Rudy was originally called in as a runaway. Apparently based upon, now this is kind of conflicting, because, you know, we heard of Quinnell's statements and the statements of the police. In this particular one, they're saying he returned the very next day. We heard from Quinnell that it could have been a day or two that he returned. So I would say the March 8th, possibly March 9th area is when he returned home. September 2018, family members heard that now remember, the mom was keeping him from the family as well. So the family is really shocked right now to know that he's been staying there, but they did kind of have some type of indication that he may have been home. And one of the family members actually called law enforcement and told law enforcement in September 2018 that they believed that that Rudy was back home. And they went out there, and apparently the mother hid him and lied to law enforcement. Now, granted, well, let me just get through this. And then, of course, June 29th, 2023, 5 years later, almost 5 years later, he's found in a church. And then by July 9th, we found out, or July 6th, we find out he was never really missing. He was being held captive by his mother.
Much to unpack with this, Brenda, and I want to start, but first, so you're saying that when he initially allegedly went missing back in 2015, Janie, his mom, had reached out to you. We know you're a volunteer, but it's kind of like she essentially hired you. Do people who are potentially guilty tend to hire or ask private investigators to help them, because those same investigators...
Honestly, that's a great question. Do guilty people typically hire private investigators? I say yes. I say yes. Letitia Stout hired a private investigator. Don Wells hired a private investigator. Obviously, this lady hired a private investigator. So do I believe guilty people? She's going to say it's not very common. I believe it's more common than we like to give credit to, because there, in the majority of the cases we cover that are high profile, there were private investigators. I believe even Steve Gonzalez may have reached out to a private investigator to help in his daughter's case when nothing was coming, nothing was making sense at the time. So obviously Steve Gonzalez not guilty, but we have other examples of where parents or people reach out to private investigators to help them prove that they are not guilty, and the private investigator can't prove that. So then it creates this problem, and then you got the private investigator basically saying they can't prove this. I found out Quinnell was reached out to by Rudy's mother. Rudy's mother reached out to him and asked him to come and help her because police thought she was keeping her kid from them, and she was concerned about being arrested, and actually reached out to him and had him come there. And he was able to talk to the mother and have her leave the room. And him and the investigator, a detective that was in the room, we heard it from the police chief's own mouth that even though they denied the SA allegations, they did confirm that, yes, they heard what the boys said and that they were in the room at the time. That was confirmed on their last press conference that we covered last night. So this idea that Quinnell was not in the room with the detective is a flat out fabrication from law enforcement for whatever reason. I'm sure it has to do with the protection of their case and the integrity of their case, because let's face it, SA allegations in Texas, law enforcement would not be broadcasting that. They would not be letting that be known to the public. That would be all behind the scenes. They would never, according to their policies and procedures, would not make those allegations public. These allegations are public because Quinnell has made them public, and I'm glad he did. But again, it is causing problems with the investigation. So you're watching law enforcement backtrack a little bit. You're watching them. They're going to be a little deceptive because they got to fix the wrong there so they can move on with their case and have a cooperating suspect. The suspect in this matter is his mother, Janie. So I do believe that law enforcement is well aware of this misconduct, this SA misconduct from his mother. And I truly do believe that they are investigating this seriously, because why else would they have a crime scene unit at his home? Let's talk about that. They don't send crime scene units to people's homes when there's no biological evidence of a crime. They're looking for biological evidence of a crime. That's why you have forensic units in there. So they're probably looking to see if there is semen or if there's stuff in places it shouldn't be, such as his mother's bed. Right? The reason why I believe they went to the back side of the house as opposed to entry into the front side of the house is because it was more secluded and the cameras wouldn't be able to see what they're doing. And I also believe that the main room that they were needing to look at is on the back side of the house. So it was easier for them to have access and get access to that room from the back side of the house as opposed to the front of the house. But I really, truly believe the reason why they made entry in the back of the house was just for, to keep the media out of what they were collecting, what they were saying. It was giving them that barrier that they needed from media. And is she in jail? No, she is not in jail. Yesterday or the day, I think it was early in the morning, I got a call. I think it was yesterday morning, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from a source, and they were telling me that this case was getting traction, and that this case, it appears that there will be an arrest within the next, they said, a week. So I'm assuming within the next 7 days, 2 or 3 of those days have already since passed. Well, yesterday morning. So this would be the second day. So I anticipate his mother being arrested for something in the next week or two. I hear a week, but sometimes that's, sources are sources. They're not 100% right 100% of the time. So I do believe there is an arrest. That is definitely something that I'm hearing a lot of. It's just the timing of it, because they're not making an arrest. This has been broadcasted from law enforcement themselves. They don't plan on making any type of arrest in this case until their investigation is complete. They're going to look in this. So why would they do that? Because it's a he said, she said type of situation. He's saying his mother did this stuff to him. She's saying, no, she didn't. Her son's mentally ill. You see what I'm saying? So she's almost implying that her son is making all of this up because of his depression or mental illness, which is not the case. And therefore, now they're having to investigate and expend a lot of resources for this investigation. So they're keeping their eye on their budget, but they're also not wanting, like right now, what they can charge her with right now. And this is what was said by law enforcement. Right now, all they can charge her with is filing a wrong report, which is basically a citation, no different than a ticket, like for driving over the speed limit. It's a low-class misdemeanor offense. I mean, next to no jail time. It's not worth the time or the expense to arrest the mother on filing a false police report. They need something more. They need something more to justify the cost. They're not going to arrest her on something like that. But I do believe they have a lot. I do believe that there is some type of insurance fraud going on here that they can get her on. I do believe that there is some type of, other stuff. And we're going to understand about this insurance thing that I was talking about yesterday. It's starting to become a little more public about the insurance proceeds that I believe is what kicked all of this off. But we'll get to that in just a second. Let me get back to this here and we'll
potentially expose them.
Not usually. Usually they try to stay private in my experience. But I believe that's why I lost contact with Janie several months after I took on this case. She had
now remember
questions,
this
about
lady
me.
here was a private investigator hired by Janie when her son disappeared in 2015. Now remember, her son turned back up a day or two later, and she's playing this lady for a fool, having her try to track down her son, knowing her son is under her own roof. So there's something going on here. This is not normal. And I definitely believe with all of my heart that this is some sort of fraud that has gone terribly wrong, and the son was done.
She was questioning my questions. And since the very beginning, it's the most bizarre story. And I was asking questions that Janie didn't like. So although she's the one that filled out the intake, I don't consider myself working for her. I have, in respect, worked for Rudy the entire time. I lost connection with Janie when she didn't like the questions I was asking her family and her.
Yeah, so you're basically working to find the truth here. All right, Brenda. I have to say, you know, being in this business, I tend to be very skeptical about a lot of things. There's a lot of things that had alarm bells going off in my mind about this initially. What was your reaction when it was reported last week that Rudy had been found at a nearby church? And then what do you think is going on here?
This, again, has been the most bizarre case because there's been anomalies throughout from day one when we received the intake that had the wrong year on it. That's why there's some confusion with the public as to, was he 17 or was he 18? He was 18 when he went missing.
So she's saying that he was 18 when he went missing. Again, a lot more details coming in, coming around now. And this was what she just stated has been my problem this entire time, and why we did not go live as soon as we heard about this boy that had been missing for 8 years, because I found it very, very odd that he was found so close to his home. When I learned that he was so close to his home, it made me pause and say something is not right with this case. This does not make sense to me. This man has been missing for 8 years. He should be halfway across the country. He should not be in her backyard. And then we come to find out that the reason why he was so close to the home is because he was living in the home this entire time, secretly. Why? Why? It makes no sense as to why.
His mother filled out the report wrong and used the wrong year of birth. So when we did the math, he came back as 17. And the initial missing persons profile came back that he was 17 years old, not 18. But my initial response when they found him last week was all questions. My first question was, is that a real picture? Because that picture that she showed of him in the hospital looked very much like when she said he was in the hospital way back in, I think, 2012. There have been other reports that from the mother that he had been found before. She had actually asked for money to go to Mexico because she said somebody random called her from Tijuana and she needed to go to Mexico. We set her up with an investigator that's in Mexico.
Let me guess, the Mexico trip. What do you think about this Mexico trip being away for mom to see her family, right? A free trip to Mexico to see your family on somebody else's dime. Because she's saying that her son has been missing. She's been playing this private detective as if her son has been missing, right? Don't get it. Don't get it.
And she said she needed ransom money. And of course, she was asking for money online to give a ransom and to hire somebody in Mexico to be able to help her.
So she got ransom money. So not only did she get a all expense paid trip to Mexico, she got pocket money to spend while she was there. I mean, that's basically what we're hearing, right? I mean, good morning, Miss Margaret. Linda Kay, Annette the Crow, I haven't seen you. Inky Unplugged, I do see you all. So it's nice to have you guys here. If I miss somebody, Kitty Cats, I see you. It's nice to have you. And yes, I believe that this is such a crazy story. That's why there's something more here. There's something more behind the scenes, and I don't know what it is, but it's definitely fraud. Whatever is going on in this case, it was fraud. So I do think they're going to be arresting the mother, if nothing more than on fraud. Maybe not all the other stuff, because she's saying he was an adult when he went missing. I keep wondering, but we need to find out when the SA started to happen. I don't think all of a sudden he turned 18 and mama's now wanting him to be daddy. So it makes me wonder, is this been going on for years? We found out that his brother died in 2011. I thought it was the husband that died first, then the son. It's just the opposite. The son died, then the father offed himself. Now, with this woman being so devious, I'm almost now questioning how the husband died. Let's be honest. I want to know, this woman is really creepy to me. She doesn't seem to have much care or worry other than herself. I mean, with everything going on with her son and her being accused, she was a little rattled, but not as rattled as I would think a woman would be that is worried that she may be going to jail. So this is, I gotta be honest. Kenny Van Goose, nice to see you with deeming the son dead. Yeah, absolutely. And 3 years of him missing apparently is what it is. So I think whatever's going on here, whether it was defrauding the public for contributions, whether it was defrauding the insurance company for insurance proceeds, there is a level of fraud that was perpetrated here in this case. And I think that that's going to be what seals the fate for his mother. But I am hearing in the back chats that there is an arrest that is pending. They are trying to dot their I's and cross their T's. But, this is a little different than, say, Leilani Simon. I'm not too upset that they have this lady out of jail and not have her behind bars, because I understand. With Leilani Simon, I didn't understand. She was on double probation and she couldn't pass a urinalysis. If I was on double probation and couldn't pass a urinalysis, my butt would be in jail. No crime committed whatsoever. I wouldn't have to commit one crime and I'd still be going to jail. And she killed her son and not in jail. Totally different scenarios. This one, I'm not so upset, because this lady has been out living her life for 8 years. What's another 30 or 60 days at this point? That's the way I'm looking at it. If she's not arrested right now, I'm fine with that. But get the case right and throw her butt in jail. What she did to that boy was pure evil. Pure evil. And a person like that does not need to be walking among us. Do I think she's the worst of the worst and needs to go to jail for the rest of her life? No, I don't. I don't think this crime rises to that level. But yes, I think she needs a significant amount of time in jail, because at the end of the day, she ruined someone's life. And that person that she ruined was her only living son. Her husband's dead. Her other son's dead, and she destroyed this man, and she needs to pay and be held accountable for that. And that the problems he's going to have the rest of his life, because he's never going to unsee this. He's never going to be able to put this in the back of his mind and act like it never happened. He is going to have to live with this abuse the rest of his life and know that it was perpetrated by his own mother. That is a hard pill to swallow for the rest of your life. I had violence in my home, and it has affected me the rest of my life. The one thing I didn't have to worry about is my mother or my father hurting me in that way. And I was screwed up with the little bit of, the stuff that went on in my house, which pales in comparison to the stories I've covered. Pales. And it screwed me up for years. So I can't imagine what these kids are going through that are surviving these households. I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
The pictures that she showed online were suspect because, again, they weren't real clear pictures, didn't show his face. As far as the church that they found him at, we were questioning how in the world did the mother when they originally reported that he was found at the church, they had reported that they thought he was a female with long hair. And how did Janie show up at the church before law enforcement ever showed up at the church? How did it go from, hey, we think this is a female with long hair to, oh no, this is missing Rudy Farias? It just didn't make sense. And if he's been missing all those years, why were there reports of the mother refusing transportation with an ambulance?
Absolutely.
None of it made sense.
None of it. None of it made sense. And I think that's the sentiments that I had, you know, when all this stuff was breaking. I mean, who wouldn't want to come and break a story that a man has been missing and found after 8 years? Who wouldn't want that soundbite? Who wouldn't want that clickbait title, right? But I'm different. You know, I try to use my common sense, and something just didn't smell right. And because I'm polarized here on YouTube, and God forbid I get one detail wrong, you know, I choose to err on the side of caution when covering some of these cases. And so something in my gut was telling me there's red flags in this case. We need to slow it down. We need to figure it out. We need to get it right. And I'm glad we chose not to go out and wag our fingers at all those naysayers out there about, you know, why we continue to hold out hope all these years. Even if everything was true in this case and he truly was gone for 8 years, this wouldn't be the standard for our children that are missing in this country. This would be considered an outlier. What is an outlier? It doesn't bode with the statistical anomalies. It is a statistical anomaly, but it doesn't bode well with the statistics. Our statistics say we have 48 hours to, if our children are missing, we have 48 hours to get them in sight and bring them home. Otherwise, their chances of survival dramatically drop. Dramatically. It goes from double percentages to the single percentile after 48 hours, and even worse after 72 hours. These are statistics. That means that this is the majority. This is what typically happens. So even in the case where if all were true and he was found 8 years later, it would still be one of those 1 in a million cases. This is not the standard. This is not the standard. You know, what I do like is, here's what I've been noticing, and this is a good thing for our causes, right? Because we here on the Bullhorn Betty channel realize that human trafficking and SA type of trafficking does exist in this country. And one of the biggest problems I've had for a long time, because I have traveled this country, I have looked into the allegations of SA. And like even with South Carolina, remember we heard that Myrtle Beach, South Carolina was the epicenter of this trade. Well, I went to Myrtle Beach to investigate. I mean, I had another event going on there, which put me in the area. But if anybody knows me, if I go anywhere for a personal event, I'm always going to cover a case, because there's cases everywhere I go. And so I had an opportunity to go to South Carolina, to Myrtle Beach, and I looked into these allegations, and people are saying this is the epicenter. I expected to see hundreds of cases, right, being the epicenter of the United States. So we are hearing at the time, what was this, like a year or two ago? And so I found 19 cases, 19. Now, granted, it's 19 cases, 19 victims, but I thought, 19 is the epicenter of the country. So here I am, you know, I'm kind of naive. I'm kind of dumb and ignorant when it comes to the facts of this trafficking epidemic that's going on in our country. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm trying to think about this. I'm like, you know, 19 just seems like a low number. Granted, they're all victims. You know, you don't want to downplay it, because these are 19 people that have, God knows what they've went through, you know? So you have a sympathetic heart to but you're thinking, like, it just seems like it should be a lot more than 19 cases. So then, you know, and this was, you know, again, a year or so ago. So since then, I've been always asking this question about the numbers associated with this thing. And every time we have a missing person, we have all these people coming out. Oh, they were sold. No, they're not. Most of them are dead. Let's be honest. Most of them are dead. But there is a percentage of those that aren't. that were taken, that were forced into this trade. And those numbers are not realistic in our country. So I've actually been campaigning, not only here in Manatee County and in the state of Florida, but around this country to get the numbers right. We cannot possibly start fixing a problem when we don't even have the proper data. And so that has been my drumbeat when it comes to the whole trafficking, whether it's SA or human, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. These people are doing things they're not, that they're being forced to do. And if you know anything about me, I'm a liberty person. You don't force nobody to do crap, you know? So, and not only that, but you're talking about women and children. So but we can't fix a problem when they're not reporting the true facts of what's going on in this country. It is a lot more rampant. I can guarantee you South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina had a hell of a lot more, excuse my language, than 19 cases of trafficking in their community. It's because they're not reporting it properly, and we need to start reporting it properly. You know, women just don't go and get into that trade for no reason. They're forced there, whether it's by drugs or by somebody. Women just don't do that. I mean, I don't know any woman that just wants to go and be with strangers. I just don't, I don't know it. So something's forcing them to do it, whether it's drugs or somebody's forcing them to do it, or a combination of both. Because let's be honest, most of these kids are groomed from young teenagers. So they're already being pumped with some drugs to get them addicted. Once they're addicted, they are a slave to that pimp. They're a slave to that pimp. The key to controlling their girls is the drugs. That's how they control them. When they're doing wrong, they take them away. When they're doing right, they give them. They're their friend. They're their doctor, right? Sound of Freedom movie, the incredible story of former guy. Yes, actually, my friend went there yesterday and watched that movie. They're giving free tickets away here. I'm signing up for a free ticket to go watch that movie. I'm hopefully going to go see it on Sunday. We'll see. We'll see. But there's more. There's more. It's not done yet.
Believe what Quanell X just told us, that Rudy told him that he was never missing, that the mother played a game on his head and abused him in horrible ways.
Yes, I do.
How do you explain it?
Rudy, before his disappearance, was a very shy, timid young man, little boy. He was not one to do drugs, run the streets, be out of the house, go anywhere away from home.
And I want you guys to see.
He wouldn't lie about something like this.
What about his mom?
I wanted to show you guys something. Hold on, let me just go back just a little bit, because it looks like he
What about his mom?
Hold on.
Go anywhere away from home.
There. It looks like he was abused. Did you see his face before? It looks like, and now his face is kind of shifted where it's over to one side, and the eye. Hold on, let me pull this up so you guys can see what I'm doing behind the screen. And the eye is lower on that one side, or is like, it looks like he's been assaulted or had something, because you see that one photo of him where he's smiling, his jaw appears to be in the proper position, and then you see this older photo of him and it's not, and it's a little odd. And I think there is potential of history of abuse in this house.
He wouldn't lie about something like this.
What about his mom?
Janie, on the other hand, is a whole different person. She's very conniving. She's very manipulative. She tries to make people fear her. Unless you really know her, know what she's about and how she is as a person, you won't have any fear of Janie.
Help me understand something. This will be a little in the weeds for people, but I need it in my head. Rudy's father, your uncle, passed away 2014, correct?
I'm not sure what year it was, but yes,
right around there. 2011, your other cousin, Rudy's brother, passed away in a motorcycle.
So Rudy's brother passed away in 2011 from a motorcycle accident. And then 3 years later, his father died by suicide. Now, again, with this lady in this story, it's making me really question that suicide of her husband. I'm sorry. And I'm going to continue to question it until that worry box is closed, because I don't trust this woman. I don't know we don't know if that was, if she did that for money, but we know that there's fraud associated with this. And I keep wondering what in the world she did. And did her husband really kill himself? I'm sorry. These are questions that are popping in my head. Now that we know what she is capable of, we have to question the 2014 suicide. I'm sorry. We have to. It would be stupid for us not to bring it up.
Accident. And I am told that the brother
Here's the insurance
was
stuff.
older and had an insurance policy that named as the beneficiary his brother. Is that true?
Yes, that's what I was told years ago, and it came out again today.
Now, it is not only unusual that someone would name a sibling as a beneficiary, but it also puts money into this situation. Do you believe money was part of this situation? And if so, how?
Most definitely. Janie has always been one to be after money in any way she can get her hands on it. And she didn't care from who or how she was going to do
no idea,
just that. She tried to make people believe that she had money, that she came from a whole lot of money. Like she was this wealthy person, and she always tried to live a high class life.
So now this is kind of boding more into this whole fraud scheme. Her needing to have money, her having to show that she came from this family of money. So now we're starting to get that picture painted for us about Rudy's mom.
And she didn't have that. If it wasn't for my grandma providing for her, giving her a place to live, or all the men that she's been with, she wouldn't have.
All the men she's been with.
Now, ordinarily, Michelle, I would be offering this opportunity to your aunt to tell her side of the story and explain any of this away. We don't know where she is.
There we go. The whole title of this segment, we don't know where she is. Neighbors recorded her at midnight packing up her car. We were told that he left with his mother. Rudy left with his mother. That is not true. This whole, the photos that we were seeing circulating of him being in a hospital room were staged. Those were photos from 2012, right after his brother died. And we haven't seen photos of him. Those photos where Quinnell X was at a hotel. He was not at the hospital. That jacket over Rudy's face, that was from the hotel. Everybody kept thinking he was walking out of the hospital. He was not. He was not. I heard early on about this insurance policy. I want to say when this case broke, within, golly, I want to say it was within 24 hours, but it was less than that. It was less than that. People started reaching out to me and telling me that there was some kind of insurance policy. I didn't know whose policy it was. It's now clear that it came from the older brother. But we heard about this insurance policy. And I also heard about the whole GoFundMe stuff. But when I was hearing about that, I was told that they were told that whoever had set that GoFundMe page up actually stole the money from the family. And I don't believe that. I think that was another story that Rudy's mom told people to justify or to make them feel sorry for her to contribute maybe even more money. You know, they raised money for her lost son and somebody stole the money from them. You know, that it just seems like a whole bunch of fraud is going on here to deceive people out of funds to help support her lifestyle. And this was, I don't think Rudy was aware of the situation. He may have been. We don't know. Rudy may be a willing participant in this whole scheme. He might actually potentially go to jail right along with his mom if he was culpable. We don't know. I mean, it's hard. I feel bad for this man. But even if he did do something, I would have to say it was at the control of his mother, and therefore he wasn't responsible for himself at the time he committed whatever said crimes that he may have committed related to fraud or otherwise. I just don't want him. He's already a victim of his mother, and I just don't want to see him behind bars because his mother drug him down after already abusing him in ways that a parent should never abuse a child. So there's a lot of emotional, you guys can tell I'm emotional when it comes to this. I feel very strongly. And just like his aunt and his cousin, they don't, this is awful. And he was taken from the family. This is not family members that knew he was living at home with mom. Let's be honest. These are angry family members. Like, how dare you lie to us and take our nephew or my cousin away from me? That's what I'm feeling here in this. I don't know how y'all are feeling about there, but it seems like the family is highly, highly upset.
You are aware of this as well, that people don't seem to know her location, and there's even some suggestion that people should be careful because she could be armed?
Yes, don't approach her.
Are you aware of this?
I'm sorry, you cut off. I was going off and on. I didn't get the last part of it.
Is it true that you don't know where she is right now and that there's some suggestion that she might be armed or has access to weapons?
Oh, she is armed. She has 2 guns licensed to her. She is carrying. She's always carried them. And my understanding is she is hiding here in Houston somewheres.
So she does carry a gun. Her niece said that she carries a gun on her. So let's talk about that. Now, if you have a son that's over it and wants to leave, knowing your mother has a gun in her possession and carrying on her, that could be intimidation as well. That could be intimidating him in a sense that he doesn't see it, doesn't need to be brandished in front of him, but he knows it's there and he's terrified of his mother. She just admitted that, this lady, Janie, wants people to fear her. But if you get to know her, you realize she's not worth fearing. That's what her niece just said. So it sounds like that she packs a big bite.
Where, we don't know.
Can you believe there have been no charges in this case? With everything that you know and what Quan LX has said and what people in the community were saying, I mean, this is the crazy part to me, or one aspect, is that this is Houston, not like some backwoods, in the mountains where nobody's ever around. And people have been saying, no, that's Rudy. Rudy's here. He's still in the neighborhood. How did the police get it so wrong?
They're just not doing their job. They don't want to believe anything, and they're not doing what they should be doing. Janie has been hiding him and keeping him and still telling the public, telling reporters, everybody nationwide that he is missing. So
again, like I said, I don't think she's going to be charged on the, they may throw it in. Good morning, Robin. How much did this money collect? The heck if we know. You're talking about an 8-year. We're never going to know to the tune of the amount of money that this woman has conned and scammed out of people. We will never know, because there may be other things that we don't know about, people handing her money, walking down the road. We don't know. But we do know that there is a level of fraud here. I think they're investigating this as a fraud case with, obviously this man is injured. And it's determined that this man was injured and living at her home. So it is not too far of a stretch to believe that this woman injured this man. Okay, she must have injured. If he's at home with her and she's the only one there and he has all these injuries all over him. Guys, remember, he had sores on his feet. He had all these injuries all over him when they found him at the church. Old injuries and new injuries. This woman was abusing this man. If she's the only one there, he didn't do that to himself, in my opinion. I mean, he could have. right? He could have. I doubt it. But in the grand scheme of things, he could have done it to himself. He could have. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I don't believe he did. But he was injured. And we're finding out that she carries a weapon. So you have an injured 25-year-old something and a mom that's wielding a weapon. And now she's fleeing and he's with friends after all these horrible allegations came out. And I know that even though she was married to a Houston police department, a police officer, I don't think they're going to cover this up for her, even out of his honor and respect, because at the end of the day, this was his son that she did this to. And they would have more backing for the fallen officer than his abusive wife. But it makes you wonder, again, I don't know how his father died. We do know he unalived himself. It was a horrific event. I can't even imagine losing a brother and then 3 years later losing my own father in such a horrific way. It seems awful. It really does. It seems very, very awful. But again, it's not something that I believe they're going to cover up. Maybe they gave her, a free pass at the time, thinking that she was a police officer's wife, and she had a son that ran away, and they just had this respect for her. But now that veil has been removed and they see her for who she is, they're not going to make those mistakes again. They're not going to be caught with their pants down again. Okay, this is really bad for law enforcement to have a kid and make multiple trips to a house, even have tips coming in that he's back home, and you still left the case open for 8 years. It does have that tinge of not doing a superb job. But again, we have to take into consideration that this man was a grown adult. And we know how grown adult missing persons go. It's very, very difficult because as an adult, you can't control them. You can't tell them where they can and cannot go. There's a lot of things. I just feel bad for this boy because it sounds like he's been wanting to get away from his mom for some time and just hasn't had the opportunity or the ability. He obviously can't. He can work. He's been doing his mom's job, but he hasn't been making his own money. A 25-year-old boy would want to go and be, have a job, have their first job, be making their own money, being able to buy their own vehicle, being able to buy their own, video games and do what, normal 25-year-old boys do. That's been removed from him. He's never had, I don't even know if he's had a normal teenage. We don't know what's going on in this house. I can just tell you that it's not normal for a mother just to boom and start, making her son sleep in the bed. There's something here going on. And it just doesn't happen overnight. So there's more to the story, a lot more to this story. And I've got another one where the aunts kind of lash out. We watched that a little bit yesterday, but here's some stuff. I've been following a gal. I believe it's a gal. You never really know who these people are, right? And it's Legacy on Twitter. And I've been following and sharing a lot of the stuff because she's been really on it. And I like this one because law enforcement refused. They said they're treating this as if Rudy is a victim. But guys, we have to consider that Rudy may have been manipulated by his mother to also play a part in this crime, and he may have to answer for that. So I kind of see where the law enforcement is having, maybe having some issues with whether he's a victim or not, or whether this is just a fraudulent scheme that is just, blew up and just took on a life of its own, which is what I'm presuming really did happen. And now they're both in hot water. But while he was there, he wanted people to know what he had been through and what he had been through for the last 8 years. I have to think with it being him, a man having to talk to another man about this, that had to have been very hard for Rudy to do. I can't imagine anybody wanting to talk about those types of details. For Rudy to bring that up, he had to have been desperate. He had to have tried everything and nothing has worked. He's had to have tried everything and nothing has worked. And this was his all or none. He went all in to escape. So going to that, he went all in to escape from his mother, just to turn around and go back to his mother. I had a hard time with that as well. And even if an adult, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If an adult is being abused, whether they're an adult or not, and they cannot protect themselves, it's the responsibility of our law enforcement to step in and protect that person, whether they're an adult or a child. It's their responsibility. They are law and order. They are to keep us safe from ourselves and from others. And so I just really had a problem with that. I'm happy to know that that assertion wasn't accurate, that he actually left with a family friend and is not with his mother. He is not with his mother. He is with family and he is with friends. So guys, we need to say a prayer for him and keep him at top of mind today. I will be back. Well, actually, today is one of those days that I won't be back. I got some exciting stuff going on here behind the scenes. Thank you, ZA. Thank you. Thank you. We got a lot of great things going on behind the scenes today. I can't really talk about them, but I'm kind of excited. And once it's all over with, I'll let you guys know what I've been up to. But it's been really exciting. It's been really great. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I could probably say more, but I want to talk to the people and see what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. But we got some exciting things coming up, and that's kind of why I've been hit and miss over the last month, because I've been having some engagements going on, and it's kind of exciting. So I can't wait until I can share all the great details with you. But for right now, I just can't. And I'm sorry. But everybody, I just want to say thank you so much. Oh, somebody else, Sepsis. And by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, Sepsis is back. We love Sepsis. Emma, big virtual hug, my friend. I've missed you. I was worried about you, but I'm glad you're back and you're doing well. Let me just go here and talk about just a second here. And so for our channel sponsors for today, yay. Oh my gosh, Emma. So Emma gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty gift memberships, and then an hour later did 5 more. So we have 10 gifted memberships from our beloved Emma Sepsis Kills. So if you guys were the recipient of a great, beautiful Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Emma, thank you. Emma, thank you so much. God bless you. ZA, thank you, Betty and mods, for everything you all do. You guys have to understand that my members, or my mods, work very, very hard. It's not easy modding on the Bullhorn Betty channel, as you guys can imagine. You watch what I have gone through unprovoked. I don't deserve and didn't deserve what I was subjected to here on YouTube for being a content creator that goes out. It doesn't matter whether people approve of my conduct or not. It matters whether my conduct is lawful and I'm acting in accordance with our laws. And that I do, and I'm proud to say that. If people don't like the laws, that's on them. Get your asses out of your chairs and go change them. If you don't like what I'm doing, speak up and say something to your politicians. Don't come and do illegal conduct toward me. But we all know what goes on here on YouTube, and it can be absolutely horrible. But we have created a beautiful and wonderful family that is growing, a true family here on YouTube that is growing, and it's called the Coffee Club. And when we started the Coffee Club out 2 years ago, I never anticipated it growing the way it has grown. And I never anticipated meeting great people that I met, because when I was, pushed onto the YouTube platform, people weren't nice. They were jealous. They were upset. And a lot of the things that I'm dealing with even this week and this last month have a lot to do with the work that I did. And that being, noticed by people, not idiots on YouTube, but by real people out there that want to, tell the story. So it's been a whirlwind for me here in Florida with the stuff. It's kind of pushed us back a little bit on some of our goals because I wasn't anticipating this coming up, and it is. So here we are. But we work very, very hard here. We travel the country. We really put our money where our mouth is here. We don't go, if there's something wrong, we don't just keep running with the same story. We want to know what is true and what isn't true. And sometimes we can't do that here from Florida. We need to go there and we need to get our feet on the ground and we need to ask people the questions and find out the truth. And that's what we do. And so we've been attacked quite a bit for the work that we did. I don't care. And I will continue to do it. And if I ever choose to do a protest anywhere, that's my choice and my right as an American citizen in this country. And I will do it. I'm a one-man show. I don't need to have an entourage of people to be advocating for justice. If I'm in a community and it calls for me to protest, I will stop what I'm doing and grab my bullhorn and go out there and fight for injustice. That's what you get with the Bullhorn Betty channel. And I don't care who doesn't like it and who likes it. I don't care. It's my right as an American citizen. It's my right. And if you know anything about me, I follow the law. And I will do everything I am able to do under the law because the law affords me the opportunities and the rights to do those things. And if people don't want to support it, then don't support it. Don't support it. But what you don't have a right to do is turn my life upside down. You do not have the right to go and stalk me online and go stalk me in person. Just because I have a YouTube does not make me, under the law, a public person. Okay? You need to understand every single thing out there has a legal definition to it. I am a private citizen. I am not a public person under the law of this country. And why is that important? Because that tells other people what they can and cannot do, where they're allowed to go and where they're not allowed to go. So in this case, I do believe law enforcement is doing everything that they can possibly do. Is there more things going on behind the scenes? I absolutely believe there are, because there's always more going on behind the scenes, no different than here. No different than here. But what we can do is we can pray for Rudy. We can pray for his family. We can pray that he gets the counseling and the resources he needs to have a productive life. This is going to be, he didn't get in this situation overnight. He's not going to get out of this situation overnight. This is a long process to heal the scars, because his scars are scars you don't see. Okay. I got scars on my face from being hit, beat. I've got scars on my body from being bit by a brown recluse spider. You can see those scars. You can see those on me. You can't see Rudy's scars. His scars are inside of him. His scars are in his head, in his heart, and in his soul. And that is something that can't be just gone overnight. That's going to take a lot of therapy and a lot of things that, he's got to understand it wasn't his fault. That's a lot of things people don't understand is how are people able to abuse people for so many years? It's because they get in your brain, they get into your mind, they make you feel that this is what you deserve, that this is somehow something that you brought on, that if you don't keep this quiet, it's going to be 10 times worse. This is not something that just happens. This is a progressive situation. It starts out with small stuff, and those small stuffs and controlling behaviors end up being more and bigger things that need to have that controlling behavior. And then over time, you just lose all sense of who you are. You don't even know what you want anymore. You don't even know how to think anymore. You don't even know which way is up or down. You are almost a robot. They tell you to jump, you jump. You don't even ask how high anymore. I mean, it's a very progressive, disgusting situation. And many of us that have had the personal experience of dealing with domestic violence and domestic abuse, it's not pretty and it is awful. And it does something to the brain that even after you leave, years and years later, is still in the back of that brain. It's just a scar you never quite get rid of. And it's a scar that nobody ever will see. So with that being said, guys, you have an amazing day. I will turn the phone lines on tomorrow. I've got a lot of stuff I got to get done today. I got people showing up at 10:30 and I got to be ready to rock and roll. So I will see you guys later. Deuces. Have a great day. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, be safe and kind to one another. God bless you.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.